Have Your Say, Hobsons Bay is a series of stories and experiences of people who live, work and play within the municipality of Hobsons Bay. Let's hear how their lives were changed because of COVID-19. Have your say, Hobsons Bay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speakers Bank Podcast, Our Voices and Our Views Digital Story Network Project. I will be your interviewer for this episode. My name is John and my partner, Ferdinand. We are from the JTI podcast team. Today, I'm introducing you to one of the leaders of Newport Fiddle and Folk Club from Hobsons Bay Council. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
First of all, welcome to Speakers Bank. And we wanted to thank you for granting this opportunity to interview you to discuss about Newport Fiddle and Folk Club and how your organization adapted to the new normal, having COVID-19 around. So, sorry, before we proceed, can you please tell me something about the organization that you wanted to share with everyone?
All right. So look, I had the idea of, I was playing in a folk band and there was a need in our area to have a venue. I didn't want to start it at a pub. And so we found a community venue and I started a session, which was just one night per month. Anybody was invited to come along and sit in a circle and play some music. That was the idea. And it took quite a while, 6 months or so to kick off. But then once it did, it sort of attracted some very interesting people. And quite quickly, we then established a choir and then we established a bush orchestra. And so then we formed a proper committee and we organised a bush dance. And then in a couple of years, we organised an annual festival and an annual carols thing. And then we had other things like a drumming group and old-timey group and a Celtic group and a songwriting group. And so before of course, it's 17 years, we developed all these groups and it was we've got 220 paid up members. And so it's quite we've got one committee that runs the folk club and we've got another committee that runs the festival. And so there, everybody's welcome. We play, there's a classical group. So the music, the actual style of music goes from classical to gypsy swing to choral to old-timey music. But the ethos is really we welcome people to come in. It's very cheap. Most of our things cost about $5 or $3 to come in for a 2 or 3 hour session. And so each, I moved from being the initiator of all these things to in a more executive role of making sure that we kept everything afloat. And because there's quite a fair bit of coordination, of course, amongst all that to make sure that we've got venues and we pay our bills and we collect enough money so we're always in the black. But so that's what the organisation was. And, we had a great deal of success. Our festival went for 13 years, I think, and we do it on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so a full weekend of the venues there. Our carols night would always fill up the substation, which was in Newport, and then we do a bush dance. We'd coordinate or be involved with the local primary school, Newport Lakes Primary School, and we'd build up these associations with many other organisations, and so it was going, really, really well, and a very healthy community-based organisation.
No, that's good. That's good to hear, Michael. So it from a small group now it becomes bigger and bigger as the years goes by.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. That's nice. So what do you think is the main purpose of this organization?
Well, the main purpose actually, we whenever people ask me that, I always go back to our website. And which is what I've just got in front of me now. If I put it over here, it was very intelligent, and I suppose I had some input into this, that we wanted to provide a venue for people interested in locally produced music. We wanted to provide opportunities for people to play music, like people who have, whether they're amateurs or beginners or professionals, for them to play in our local area. And then we wanted opportunities for non-musicians to also come and enjoy this. So quite a few of our members don't play instruments. And then the last one is that we wanted to provide training, virtually for training, to develop people's skills. And so that's exactly what's happened. Over the course of the life of the folk club, there's many people that I know who have increased their skills from being beginners to being quite proficient, or even proficient musicians to being very professional on stage. That's the big thing, because many people can play an instrument, but they can't get on stage and entertain people. And so we've seen a lot of growth there. So that's the first thing, is we've seen the growth. And the second thing is that it's led to a whole lot of connections, that people come together. They come to one of our sessions, they meet people who are interested in the same music, and before you know it, they've got a band. And of course, it's when people play together that they get much better. And so it's been very successful, really, really successful. And of course, it's just doing, there's a lot of research about why music is particularly good at socializing people very quickly, and the evidence, the folk club is very clear evidence of all that research.
Wow, that's good. So what do you think are the changes that occurred to the usual routine of the group and life of the organization when the pandemic hit it globally? Like, all of us are affected.
Right. Well, like everybody, in March in 2020, everything stopped. Every face-to-face event stopped, and but almost immediately, almost all of the groups went straight online. And so Choose Blues, as a blues group, they went online straight away, like even before people even thought about it. They were online. And then I think there's 9 groups we've got total. One of them, maybe 2 of them, didn't go online because it didn't suit them, but all the rest of them went online. And so we went through a period of people finding out what microphones worked, and like the technology, how to run the sessions. And but I was surprised, because it wasn't really my push, like it wasn't my impetus, but people just found a way, and they went online, and we created, we got a Zoom account, and so we had unlimited time. And we didn't charge for most of the things. So it was basically, as an organization, we were in a position to offer everything free.
Wow.
And that caused us a little bit of a problem, like in terms of, but we had some financial reserves. And so we have been asking for donations, but not many people do. And so, 7 out of 9 of our groups continue to meet on basically a monthly basis. And so that was very, it was surprising how well it went. And that continued right through up till now.
Wow.
That's very good. Yeah. So Michael, so how did you help divert the attention of the community and also the members of the organization not to think much of the impact of the lockdown happening throughout Australia? How did the organization support the members?
The main thing was that it continued the connection. I mean, the problem with the pandemic is that people end up at their own homes, watching their own screens, and going into some sort of, lockdown psyche. Whereas we provided a reason, like a rhythm for people's week, so they're, like some of the groups are weekly, some of them are monthly. And so just by virtue of the fact that you're going to join a group, you're going to play in the group on Tuesday, you've got to learn your songs. And so basically it's got a week of thinking about it, and it started to shape the life during the pandemic instead of being just this sort of vague, hazy time. And the second thing is that the Zoom groups, once we got a handle of them, they actually satisfied the people who went there in the same way that a face-to-face group would. What's that?
You'll be amazed with that. Yeah. I mean,
that's right. Yeah. I mean, it's like this interview now, it's once we get going, I know you two guys and you know something about me, and And that's what it's surprising, because we have sometimes, 15, 12, maybe sometimes more. And as long as people come into it saying, because everybody says Zoom's not the same as face-to-face, we get that. However, once people get over that, of course, some people chose not to come, but the people who got over that, they just say, okay, I'm here, I'm going to do the Zoom thing. And then, of course, you get the same, so people perform their songs. And in a way, it actually works quite well for some things, because I play a song and Jann plays a song, But then more than that, about, half an hour through it, people start to have natural conversations. So you didn't have to have the group leader saying, Jann, your time to talk, and Michael, your time to talk. Like you get that natural flow of conversation. And so, because I often, weren't, of course, I can't go to all these things. I have no desire to go to all these things, but I did go to regularly, 1 or 2 a month. And often you'd feel, I don't feel like going, but then you go and then it's fun, like it's actually a great deal of fun, very satisfying. And so for me and for the other people who went to these sessions, it got you out of that lockdown fog and just said, oh, right, this is fun, like there's people and we're doing it and it's all fun. And the other surprising thing, so people still got to practice, if you're going to play a song, you got to practice it. So there's a reason to get up and to do your, thing. And then the third thing was that we, because it was on Zoom, we were able to attract people who wouldn't normally go to the face-to-face sessions. So we had people from Melbourne, but far away from Newport. We had people from country Victoria, like from Dalesford and up at Echuca. And we also had people from England and Sri Lanka and India come to our sessions. I mean, not many, but we had people. And there was a couple of people from England who would regularly come to 2 of the sessions, and they became part of the show. And so that added an extra thing, and of course the Zoom connection between here and the UK is often sometimes better than here and around the street from my place. So that was a surprising outcome, which was very positive. And so it was good.
Yep. From hearing that, it was really good. But for sure, there are still some members who are like hesitant to join, like on Zoom meeting, on Zoom gatherings and stuff. How do you engage? How do you let them, how do you call this? How do you keep them motivated? And how do you make them engaged during this time of restrictions and stuff?
Look, that was difficult. I mean, one of the things is that if the world moves to Zoom and you don't want to go to Zoom, then that's difficult too. It wasn't for me, their organisation to go around and knock on doors and say, something. But we did have, one of the things is that because of the organisation has already got a couple of sessions, weekly music sessions, when we came out of lockdown, there would be an event for people to go to. And so even people who didn't like going to Zoom, they could go to there's 2 local cafes where our members perform each week. So as soon as lockdown broke, then the music would be happening. And so that was good. The other thing, of course, is we put a newsletter out every month. And so we had things to tell people, this is coming up, this is what we've been doing, here's some pictures. So we're engaging people vicariously as to what's happening. And then the final thing is that we did a couple of projects which continued on through Zoom. And for example, I produced 2 songs over Zoom with the first one had 7 people in it and the second one had 6 people. No one met each other.
Wow.
Zoom. So it was all so how we did it, we never actually met on Zoom. I just put a thing on our Facebook site saying who is interested in being part of this project. And then I record. So I got the people. Then I recorded my tracks, so I put 2 guitar tracks as a basis. And then I worked out who's going to be first, second, third, in terms of the song. So I had to arrange it. And then it took of course, it was like all recording projects. It took more time than you think. So it took me about 3 weeks before to record my things. And then I sent it on to the singer, and she did a couple of takes. And so it took her a couple of weeks and sent it back to me. And then the next singer, and then the cellist, and then the guitar, you know. And so this project took 2 or 3 months. But in that time, I was able to send it out to all of the group to say, this is still happening, you know, like it's a bigger project. And so there's a couple of things like that. We had a songwriters group, which was established, and we got a grant to record their songs. And so that was able to continue during Zoom. You know, in answer to the obvious question, not, out of the total number of people who started it, not all of them were still writing and producing their songs, but we've got enough to going so that the momentum's still going, and it's something we can talk about, and we got evidence to show this has happened during that. So it's not a lost 2 years, if that makes sense.
So aside from this new skill or development of their skill that they have and hobbies, what do you think do these members could get aside from those?
We started a group drumming, and that was drumming as a group is quite hard to be on Zoom. So part on Zoom, part on face-to-face. I was meeting with the man who runs the drumming. He said, Michael, 4 of the group members have come and told me that this was the most important thing for them to keep their sanity during during lockdown. That it gave them a sense of purpose. They became focused, they became practiced, they developed their skills on it, and it connects them to something bigger than they are. So all those basic antidotes of loneliness, it's effective. And I know from our time pre-Zoom that exactly the same thing happens. They're part of a group, and so that's part of their identity. When people say, what are you doing over Zoom? So, instead of saying I'm sitting on Netflix, I'm part of a group. I'm connected with these people. I'm learning this. And we've had some quite profound changes, if you like, to people's understanding of themselves by being part of the group. And so that function continued during lockdown. The other thing, of course, is that because I don't run any of the groups now, it's meant that we've had to have 9 people or 18 people running each of the groups. And so that's given them a purpose. It's developed their leadership skills. It's increased their role or status within our community. And rightly, of course, they're able to say, I run the drumming, so that's a big thing, and they make decisions as to whether we're going to or not going to do this and how we're going to run it. And so all of those benefits, which are entirely unsurprising, we have experienced within our organisation over the last 2 years, and it's been fantastic. There's just so many connections, and look, my background, I was a school teacher, and then studied psychology for a while, and then I've been lecturing in management, and all of this stuff is very, in a sense, the theory is very clear that if you connect people and you give them a purpose and you develop their skills, they'll feel better about themselves, and that's exactly what's happening.
So Michael, so what projects are you currently on with this organization? And
of course, right now we've got a meeting on Monday, and we decide how this year is going to look. We've got most of the groups are going back face-to-face sessions, so that's to reawaken the face-to-face thing has been quite a bit of organisation with the various venues. So that's the first project. The second project is that we had the money, the funds to have a festival in 2020 and 21, and we didn't do a festival. And so the whole festival was designed, nothing. Whole festival design, nothing. So this year we've got a group who are our project, which I'll get onto after we have our discussion, is what are we going to do in place of a festival? We've decided we're not going to run a festival. It's too risky. too much trouble. But we're going to run a number of low-risk events that will enable the community to get back together. So that's really the first one, the major one. And then we've got a bush dance that we have done since 2007. And we did it actually in 2020. That was our last face-to-face gig, for the whole community. And so we're hoping to run that again this year in March or the middle of March. And so, so there we've got a couple of things. And of course, one of the advantages of all this is that in our newsletter, which I don't create, but I write some, an overview, there is always something happening. We're doing something. We want the songwriters to record their songs. There's a couple of grants out there that we're looking at what we might do to stimulate creativity, because one of the things that has been central to the life of the organisation is that we are able to generate creativity. That's it. So all of the health benefit, here's people play, they get together, they get the health benefits of it, and then the top of the apex is the creativity.
Yeah.
And so when we can stimulate either individual or group creativity where they're playing music, then we're very happy.
Yeah, that's
and it's a good that's what the proof of the organisation is, I think.
Yes, it is. So to our listeners who are listening right now, how would they be able to join this club? Because I'm pretty much sure there's a lot of people who are really willing to support this group. How can they connect with you guys?
All right. So our website, which nffc.org.au, and I'm sure you'll put that in the link of the the descriptor. They simply go to the website, and there's a list of activities that we can do, and so they can see, I'm interested in blues, or I'm interested in Celtic or bush orchestra or drumming or anything. And for each of those activities, there's a link, and then you can just send the person who runs that event the thing saying, can I come? And the answer will always be yes. There's also a general inquiry email and phone number which comes directly to me. And so anybody who rings me up, I will ring them usually within 24 hours back and have a chat. And so talk them through. Usually what I say is, can you play? What instrument can you play? What are you interested in doing? Where do you live? How far away are you from the area? And then I go through and say, well, maybe you'll be really suitable for this, because of course, in music, people, wherever you are, someone's better and someone's worse, in terms of skill. And a lot of people, particularly older people. The folk club is generally attracts an older demographic, but people who have a little bit no confidence, it's great for them to join a group, and then all of a sudden they're playing music, doing the thing that they wanted to do. And we've got a lot of evidence of that, where people who, at 50 or 60, they'd never been on stage. And the next thing they're on stage playing, and quite relaxed about it, because they're not the main focus of it. And so we're always very interested to hear from people who are interested in joining our club and in our activities, because we think it's a great thing, and the evidence of people who've joined it is that they enjoy playing with it and meeting people and getting better at their musical skill.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michael. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences during this pandemic that affects every one of us here as well. Thank you for giving us the the purpose and how this organization or this group still runs through this pandemic. I have to end this podcast now. But again, in behalf of Speakers Bank, thank you so much, Michael, for giving us time and sharing your insights and giving us motivation and how to be in a healthy state of mind during this period.
Thank you very much, Renee.
Yep, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yep, and thank you everyone for watching us. If you have any questions or have any suggestions for this topic, you want us to cover, please contact us on 0396877066, or visit www.speakersbank.org.au. Again, this is John and Ferdinand and Michael saying thank you once again, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Speakers Bank, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So goodbye for now. Have a great day and keep safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.